And so, as expected this morning, we got our very first look, a brief teaser at the 1000-Year Blood War arc's long-awaited anime adaptation. Bleach's final arc is going to be transformed into an anime, and this morning we saw that vision come to life in a brief way thanks to a very first trailer, courtesy of Jump Festa. And now I imagine many of us are feeling much the same way at the moment, a sense of the surreal. Because for so many of us, the Bleach anime coming back felt like something of a pipe dream for the better part of a decade, and now that we're here, and this is actually unfolding before us, I feel very grateful. This feels like a gift in so many ways, something that I've been longing to see, and is now finally happening, and it feels amazing to be able to witness that. The 1000-Year Blood War arc is not perfect, but I do personally absolutely love it, and I think as a conclusion to Bleach's epic story, it works really well, and is extremely explosive and bombastic, and is just a real event that deserves to be seen animated. And so with this trailer we got today, it was about 1:40 long, and it really wasn't what I was expecting at all. And if you watched my very last minute predictions video I put out, you'll see I got a couple of things sort of right, but in a more accurate sense, almost everything was wrong. And that's because the trailer just wasn't really what I was expecting. And so let's get on with this video. Let's discuss and break down what we saw in the very first trailer for the 1000-Year Blood War arc's anime. Before we really kick the video off, however, voting is still open until December 31st for the 100,000 subscriber character popularity contest that we are running here on the channel. If you want to leave your 5 favourite Bleach characters in a comment somewhere on the channel, I'll be able to add them to the tally. So voting is still open until December 31st if you want to be a part of that. And also, if you haven't hit subscribe yet, make sure to do that now, as you're in the best place for Bleach content like this every single week. If you want to give the video a thumbs up as well, it really does help support me and the channel. It gets us more exposure on YouTube and means that the video can reach more Bleach fans just like yourselves. And also, if you want to take the support from me a little step further, if you enjoy what I do here on the channel, we have a Patreon now as well, where you can get videos early and you can support me there for as little as $1 a month. And as always, every name appearing on the screen right now is someone who is doing that and is helping me out over on Patreon, and I really do just appreciate and have so much gratitude for the support that you are giving me. Thank you so much. So, the trailer, like I said, it's not really what I was expecting. In my predictions video, I basically said I thought the trailer would be localized almost entirely on the first invasion of the Quincy's, or at the very least the first third of the 1000-Year Blood War story, but that doesn't seem to really be the case at all. The trailer cherry picks moments from all over the arc, and in that sense the trailer feels, to me at least, like it was made more for those of us who have actually read the manga than perhaps those of us who haven't. But either way, it works really well to get the blood pumping and to drive excitement for this story. And of course, the first thing I really just have to talk about is the sheer wave of nostalgia that just punched me in the heart when number 1 started playing. Ichigo's iconic theme music, and not one of the instrumental remixes that we've had over the years either, the pure blooded vocal version. It was so good to hear as well. I absolutely loved hearing it play here. It really felt like a return to home in that sense. You know, the anime has been absent for so long now, and this just heralds its return in a really big and bombastic way, and I loved to hear that. That theme music was just so refreshing to hear again. But the trailer itself actually opens with some nighttime shots of Karakura Town, and this first section of the trailer is luscious to look at. It is so beautiful, with incredible lighting, amazing fluidity, and the characters themselves just look so nice in the brief glimpses we get of them. Ichigo, of course, wearing his full-bring shikai, is seen walking across the screen wielding Zangetsu over his shoulder. That's potentially my favourite shot of the entire trailer. I just think it looks so very nice. The detail on show here is off the charts as well, like the X bands that he wears around his forearms as part of the full-bring manifestation of his powers are like 3D looking in this shot, which just looks so nice. But truth be told, all of the characters here look lovely. And this scene, of course, is lifted directly from chapter 480, The Blood Warfare, the very first chapter of the 1,000-Year Blood War. And of course, this is probably a great time to mention that there will be manga spoilers in this video. As I said, I think the trailer was really made for those of us who have read the manga, because it does spoil a couple of things that I perhaps wasn't expecting in here. So there will be manga spoilers, so, be aware of that. But this opening scene of this trailer is taken directly from that first chapter, where Ichigo and the rest of the Karakura gang kind of come together to save the new Karakura representative, Yuki, from these absolutely colossal hollows, which is what we get to see here in the trailer. However, a point that can be made already is this brief shot in the trailer is very good news already for those of us who kind of hoped the anime might extend a few of the fights within the arc. Some of the fights that could have had a bit more given to them, or even just aspects of the story fleshed out ever so slightly, because there are things here already happening that didn't happen in the manga. For instance, Chad raising his fist, preparing to fight, Orihime wielding the Shunshin Rika. None of that happens in the manga. Basically, Ichigo just takes out a couple of hollows, Uryu takes one out, and Orihime heals Yuki, and that's basically all you see. So that's already very promising for the future of this anime. Now, personally, I've always been of the opinion that the anime will not significantly change any aspects of the story. I don't see it happening. But I'm extremely open to them fleshing out some fights, making some fights a little bit longer. I would love to see that, and that would just be honestly really cool. But this whole first section of the trailer is so beautiful to look at, and it actually ends with our very first glimpse of the big bad of the 1,000-Year Blood War himself, Yhwach, the Quincy King. It's the briefest of shots. He's just sort of smirking, in a very villainous way. The lighting again is wonderful, and another little detail that I kind of picked up on is that, unlike the manga, the anime seems to be going with the big, bushy moustache Yhwach from the very beginning. Like, in the manga, it was an obvious thing that his moustache was tiny to begin with, and would just systematically and progressively get more wild and untamed as the story arc went on. But no, in the anime, we seem to be starting out with the fully fleshed out facial hair Yhwach, which I thought was pretty funny to see. And it's, again, this is something I predicted. I get it. It's an obvious prediction, but it was clear that we would see Yhwach in the first trailer. They have to establish who the main villain is and get him out of the way immediately, pretty much. I am a teensy tiny little bit disappointed that he's the only member of the Vandenreich we actually get to see in this trailer. That was a bit of a shame. I kind of get it, the anime is back, everyone loves the Shinigami, that's really what they're going to put the focus on, especially since so many of the Shinigami go through such crazy story arcs in the final arc, but I would have loved to have seen some Quincy. Like, the arc is about them, essentially, so I would have happily taken a shot of Asnot or a shot of Askin or something, but you can't win them all. I knew we'd get Yuha at least, and he looks really cool. And it's another tiny thing I just want to bring up as well is that this shot of him grinning appears to be taken from the same moment where he first appears in chapter 484 of the manga, The Buckbeard. Except he doesn't really grin like that in that introduction. Now, it could be chapter 485 when he's smirking at Ludas, but I'm not sure it is. And this is just a wild theory, but I actually think that the first episode of the anime will not get to the point where we get to Yhwach's introduction. So instead, they will still drop a teaser about him, and this shot of him smirking where you can't see the rest of his face will actually be the stinger at the end of episode 1. That's just a wild prediction. I've got no idea, but I could see that happening. Feels like, if you don't get to his intro, you do still want to hint at the main villain in episode 1. So I could really see that. But this whole first segment is so just beautiful to look at, and if the anime is really going to look like this, then we're in for a real treat. Now, the rest of the trailer, however, takes a slightly different approach and seems to be mostly still images taken from the manga and then, transformed into the anime visual style, with a little bit of animation here and there to kind of bring them to life a little bit. Mouths moving, beads of sweat running down, the wind kind of messing their hair, that sort of thing. And it is really great to get to see so many and such a variety of moments showcased here in the trailer. Some moments that I wasn't expecting them to show. It starts out with Rukia wielding Sode no Shirayuki against Asnot. This is actually animated quite a bit, and it does look really cool. The background has this like very deep blood red hue that helps to reinforce, in my mind, that these scenes are kind of stylized in a particular way just for the trailer. I don't know if these following images are actually going to look like this in the trailer. If you ask me, and I really have no idea, I'm just a fan talking rubbish, but if you ask me, this is going to be kind of similar to Bleach opening 12, I think it is, Change, which gave us a sort of sneak peek look at the fake Karakura Town fight. So we saw things like Love tearing into a Menos Grande, Yami jumping behind Byakuya and Zaraki, Baragon wielding his Gran Kaida, way before we actually saw any of it in the episodes. And it looked a lot different in the opening because it was just a still image, effectively, than it did actually in fluid animation. So that's kind of what I'm expecting here, that these are more teases than anything else, work in progress than anything else, because some of these especially are from really far into the story, into the arc. So I have no idea. Maybe they have started working on that already, I don't know, but some of it is literally from basically the end of the arc. But regardless, so it starts out with a shot of Rukia, then we get a shot of Renji when he arrives to confront Master Masculine, calling himself a villain. After that, we get an image of Kisuke from the battle with Askin, so again, that's like really far, that's like almost the third to last fight in the entire 1000-Year Blood War arc. Then we get another shot of Yoruichi when she arrives on the scene for the very first time to kind of help Kisuke with the energy to get to the palace. And then after that, we get a cool shot of Byakuya wearing his Royal Realm attire, wielding Senbon Sakura against Az. Again, another shot from the fight against Asnot. And if you ask me, that's not too surprising because I do think this fight is quite popular in Japan. So that's not surprising. And obviously the Kuchiki siblings are very popular characters. We then get a shot of Hitsugaya in the fight against Bazby early on in the second invasion. Once again, this image has that same red background, which again reinforces the idea that they're stylized for this particular trailer. After this, we get quite a few other shots of characters: Shinji, Soifon, Kensei, my boy Rose, Komamura, all of these guys showing up very briefly, again, from different parts of the arc. I like how most characters have like a really cool moment, but for Shinji, they just had to pick the moment where he's talking to Momo about how angry Yamamoto is, because otherwise they just have one of him like blowing up or something. But again, the style here is weird. It's very, very different, even to that opening section of the trailer, which again makes me think this is potentially not how the anime is actually going to look. I would assume, I hope, that the anime is actually going to look more like that opening section. I wouldn't be surprised if that is actually taken straight from the first episode, and if so, that's going to be stunning to look at. But again, I think they're just really giving us a taste of what to expect from the 1000-Year Blood War. Komamura, by the way, looks pretty cool. Like, the guy looks feral with the way his teeth are looking in the anime. But nonetheless, it's really awesome to see them. We then get a brief shot of Ukitake, but then, actually, a couple of things happened in the trailer that I didn't quite expect. They actually spoil a couple of fairly sizable manga-exclusive moments: Unohana's true nature revealed, and then adult Hitsugaya. Now actually though, if you were an anime-only viewer watching this trailer, and that panel of Unohana showed up, I wondered if you would even know who it was. You know, I wonder if you would more likely be like, I don't know who that is, and you might think it was a brand new character. So maybe that's not so much a spoiler, but Hitsugaya is really a spoiler. And actually, I'm pretty sure I went on the Bleach subreddit this morning, saw someone posted that image of Hitsugaya with a caption of being like, what the hell? So I just immediately assumed that was an anime-only viewer who saw that and was like, what on earth is going on here? Which is really actually kind of funny to think about. But it is kind of weird that those moments were in the trailer so brazenly. There's a really nice shot of Kenpachi, again, when he arrives in the Gremi fight and declares himself to be the Kenpachi. And this shot is shaded in such a way that, again, makes it look like it's ripped straight off of the manga, where he has all of the lines on him. But actually, my only thought of that was it made me miss that original animation style from the Soul Society arc in particular, where they would actually draw all the shadow lines on them. They obviously stopped doing that, and I actually do kind of miss it because it kind of lent an authentic feel to the show, but it's just a style at the end of the day. There's a couple more character shots. Mayuri shows up, again, in a very late fight, and Kyoraku in a very late fight. But actually, in some ways, the showcasing of the Schutzstaffel battles makes a lot of sense, because apparently those fights are actually very popular in Japan, which I'm like very happy about, because I think they're great battles and they deserve to be recognized. I'm pretty sure there was a best bout poll hosted very recently. I couldn't off the top of my head remember where it's from, but at least 3 out of 4 of those Schutzstaffel fights made it on there, and I respect that. Then there's a shot of Yamamoto wielding his Bankai. It's a big tease. It's just a kind of close-up of his eye, but to those of us, again, who've read the manga, we know what's going on. But this shot, again, looks more in line with the early parts of the trailer, with that more detailed look, the amazing lighting, and just overall more animation going on that just looked stunning to behold. And I think that scene in particular is going to be spectacular. This is followed up by another fully animated segment, a rather sinister-looking Ichigo, wielding this, like, new purple Reiatsu that almost looks like a galaxy or something. Again, though, very nice. The lighting is wonderful. It's actually set in Karakura Town at night time, and he's using Bankai. So I'm sitting there thinking, like, I'm racking my brain, like, does this ever happen, or is this just for the trailer? And I'm leaning towards this just being for the trailer. This Ichigo section with him basically looking up, looking really sinister, then later on he uses Getsuga Tensho. So the closest thing I came to was he fights Ivan in Karakura Town and uses Getsuga Tensho in Bankai, but that fight is set during the daytime in the manga. I guess they could change it. Bit random if they do. And also Ichigo doesn't really look that sinister at any point, but you know, that could just be a cool stylistic thing they're doing. As for this like Getsuga Tensho, this new sort of purple Reiatsu, I think again this probably just for the trailer to kind of make things look really sort of cinematic and really kind of make it stand out and just look really awesome. But if that is in the episode, I'm not going to complain, because like I said, Ichigo looks really kind of cool here, and you get a really kind of different vibe from him as well. But I'm assuming if this is in an episode, it's got to be the Ivan fight, unless, well, I can't think of anything else, because that's basically all they do in Karakura Town. So I'm currently veering towards this being a trailer-only shot, but I could be wrong. And then to almost round out the trailer, we get one last look at Yhwach himself. Now, this is actually taken directly from the manga, chapter 484, The Buckbeard, when we first see him in Bleach. You can see, like, blood. Now, it's actually framed a little bit weirdly. The way it looks is it looks like someone has died in front of him. It looks like a body is falling over, but if this is what the scene I think it is, it should just be an arm coming off and blood kind of going everywhere. It could still be that. And then Yhwach is obviously sat on his chair. You get the close-up of his face where he says, now let me hear your reports for the sake of peace. The lighting looks, like, amazing here. Now, normally I am of the belief that the manga is superior in every way when it comes to the art. When it comes to the actual drawing, like, Kubo never misses the mark. But actually, I kind of think that this first image of Yhwach's face is better here in the anime. And I know this is just a very initial first look, but I don't know, there's just something about it that just looks really, really good, really sinister. The lighting does a lot of the legwork here. And I just think overall it looks great, and I just can't wait to see it, and actually hear his voice as well. Really looking forward to that. And then we get our much anticipated release date for the anime, which is October 2022. And as I said in my predictions video, well, that is the one I saw leaked. And it does feel further away than I was anticipating. At the same time, I don't really know what I was anticipating. If they'd said 2023, I could have believed it. Because obviously the pandemic has really just messed everything up. But regardless, it is nice to kind of have an end point in sight, to know what to look forward to in regards to when this thing is actually releasing. And I'm very excited to see. I kind of hope we get, you know, another trailer down the line that really actually shows the anime in full force. Because I do think for the most part, these were images basically lifted from the manga and then just sort of given a coat of paint to look like the anime. That's basically what I think is going on here. Not that I don't like that, because I think it does look awesome, but the actual fluid parts of the trailer are by far the most beautiful, and they look incredible to see. You know, the early scene from 480, Ichigo wielding Getsuga, Yama's Bankai, Yuha Bunk's intro, those are the bits that are really exciting to me. Again, I'm disappointed that there's no Stern Ritter in here whatsoever, no Zero Division either. Completely wrong about all of that. But what's interesting, though, is that at the very end, they do give you a sort of small credits list of the voice actors reprising their roles and the new voice actors. And the characters who had Brave Souls units are listed here. Characters like Askin, Bambietta, Bazby, Yugrum, Ichibei, etc. You know, all these characters, Senjumaru, etc. They're all listed here. So that's really cool that we did, by playing Brave Souls, in a sense, get that early preview, I guess. But regardless, that's really exciting, and I do actually really like Askin and Yugrum's voice. I think they work really well. But that's basically it for my kind of breakdown of this first trailer. There's not like a massive amount to say or to see, but what we do get, I'm very excited about, and I think that this, particularly the parts in motion, are extremely promising. So now, guys, we just have to play the waiting game, which we've been playing for the last decade anyway, but now we have an endpoint in sight, October of 2022. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to let me know in the comments which part of the trailer was your favourite. I'd love to hear. For me, it was that initial opening montage of Ichigo, Chad, Orihime, and Uryu fighting the Hollows. That's probably my favourite bit, but I also really did like the part with Yuha at the very end as well, seeing his face properly for the first time. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't done, guys, and until next time, I'll catch you later. I'll see you then.